Let's make a foundation paper piecing block using freezer paper. After you've printed the pattern onto your freezer paper, trim the excess paper away along the seam allowance lines for each block. To make sure that you've got a nice solid crease in your paper using a straight edge. I prefer doing this with a ruler because that makes sure that it is straight. If you, after you've done this, still feel that you should crease it in some more, do it by hand because the initial crease is set with the ruler. Take your first section and find the first patch that needs to be placed. Turn your freezer paper over and put your fabric with the wrong side to the glossy side of the freezer paper and press it to the freezer paper with a hot iron. Get your second patch and place that fabric with the right side to the right side of your first patch, making sure that you've got a 1/4 inch seam allowance going along the line that will be your seam. Now you can fold your freezer paper on that line that is the seam for the first 2 patches. Fold your freezer paper back and you're now going to stitch right next to the fold of the freezer paper. Traditional FPP, you would stitch through the paper, but with freezer paper, you stitch right next to that fold. Now you can fold that page over and press with your iron. Note that I am pressing on the sticky side of the freezer paper here, but it would be better to just turn it over like I have it now and press with the iron like that. Now you're going to continue doing the fold over and trim your fabric to a 1/4 inch seam allowance before placing your next patch on the next numbered area of your FPP like you would normally do, and you're going to fold the paper back, stitch next to the folded paper until all your patches are in place. So your next patch, right side to the right side of the fabric of the previous patch, turn it over, fold your paper back along the line that needs to be stitched, take it to your sewing machine and stitch right next to the fold of the paper. Go to your ironing station, press the fabric flat to the freezer paper. Take care to rather press on the printed side of the freezer paper to get the fabric attached to the freezer paper. Fold over for the next seam, trim the fabric on the piece that's just been attached to a 1/4 inch seam allowance. almost done. All you now need to do is trim your fabric neatly to the seam allowance of your foundation paper, in this case the freezer paper, and your block is finished. Well, in this case the first section. If you are now finished with your block and all the sections have been stitched together, you can simply peel off that freezer paper and reuse it. No need to reprint your FPP. You can use the freezer paper again, and best of all, you don't have all those little funny icky pieces in your seam.